My name is Caitlin and I'm a graphic designer here at Craftsman. We make a lot of the cute products that you can find at Michael's. Today we are going to be celebrating the Lunar New Year by making these two really cute crafts right here. We have a nice little paper lantern and a little paper fan. So the Lunar New Year, as the name implies, is based off of the lunar calendar, which goes off of the moon's monthly cycles. So that's why the Lunar New Year kind of occurs a little later than your traditional New Year's. This year, I believe it's on February 1st, so we still have a little bit of time to get our crafting in. So yeah, with that, why don't we switch to the overhead camera and we can just kind of jump right into it. So the supplies that we're gonna need today, for our paper fans, we're gonna be using these money envelopes from Michael's. If your Michael's doesn't carry these, you can find them at Amazon as well. Or if you have an Asian grocery store near you, they should have them there. We're also going to be using this really cute Lunar New Year sticker and die cut pack that you can find at Michael's. It has these really nice die cuts with adhesive on the back, some 3D stickers, and then some regular flat stickers. We're also going to be needing some embroidery thread. That's kind of still in its little skein here. So I'm using gold and red today. And I also have these really nice jade colored beads that I got in the jewelry making section at Michael's. And these were really inexpensive. They were like less than $3, but they add a really cute touch to our little embroidery tassel. So if you want to use those, feel free. And for the paper lanterns, we're going to be using a red colored cardstock and a gold colored cardstock. These are both 12 by 12 sheets. We're going to be cutting them down to about an 8 by 6 rectangle. So if you use a 12 by 12 sheet, you'll be able to get 2 paper lanterns out of them. Also going to be needing a paper cutter, some scissors, a ruler, some gold washi tape. Mine is about a 1/2 inch wide. And you're also going to be needing something to fold with. I'm using a bone folder, but you could use a card, like a library card or a credit card. And also a stapler. So yeah, that's all our supplies. And then we can kind of just jump right into it. So let's go ahead and get started with our paper fan. So what we're gonna need these red envelopes or money envelopes. And these are traditionally given out during the New Year or during weddings. You give money in them. So you always know it's gonna be a good time when you see someone handing out red envelopes. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna make sure the little flaps are kind of open like that. And I'm just gonna go ahead and cut a little design right at the top. This part is optional, but I think it just adds like a really cute little detail at the end. You can kind of do whatever you want. I'm just gonna do a really simple like little cutout just to kind of add another little design at the top. So it's just something simple like that. It doesn't have to be super symmetrical or perfect, just do the best that you can. So I took 3 there at a time, and I'm gonna take 3 from the other one and go ahead and do the same thing. So, have our little envelopes here. And then the next little part is going to be assembling them. So you're gonna start off with 2 envelopes and just face them so the designs are facing each other and kind of line them up. We're gonna take our stapler and we are gonna staple one at the top and then one closer to the bottom. You don't want it too far in the middle, but you do want a little bit of overlap. So I'm just gonna go kind of about there, like a 1/4 inch in, and then about maybe an inch from the bottom. You can see when you unfold it, you get this nice little curve shape, and that's gonna be a little base for our fan. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that for the rest of them. So you're just gonna wanna make sure that you're kind of do a Sorry. Where's this going? There you go. So you're going to want to make sure that your designs are always facing the inside like that. Do another one right at the top. And the bottom. And then we're just going to keep on going with another one. It's a little hard when they get kind of folding over on each other. One at the top, the bottom. There's 4. Add our 5th one. You can use like double-sided tape here, but I feel like the stapler just kind of really does the best job of reinforcing everything, and you don't see the staples at the end. Last one. Then you can see what we're left with is this kind of accordion folded little paper fan. So then we're going to turn it on the back and just gather our bottoms so that we have them all gathered at the bottom there. And just turn that over and give it a little crease on the sides. And then I'm just going to take my stapler again and do a couple at the bottom. And reinforce it. There you go. And then you can kind of just fan it out with your fingers at the end. And you can see how that little cut at the top gave us that little nice detail right there. So there is the base of our fan. So the next part we're going to work on is the little embroidery tassel that hangs at the bottom. So I have this gold embroidery thread, and these are really inexpensive at Michael's. They're like less than $1. So I'm gonna just gently take off the paper that came around it, and you're gonna wanna keep this shape. So we are going to need a few strands to tie around so that we can have something to attach to the fan. So I'm just gonna cut one string off there, and then we're gonna need a little bit of a longer string just to tie around the embroidery thread to give us that tassel shape. So I'm gonna do a little bit of a longer piece. So while our embroidery thread is still intact like that, I'm going to take that shorter piece and just tie it really tight around the middle into like a double knot. Just like that. Then I'm gonna let one of the pieces hang down. And now we have this little, almost little tassel. So next what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try and find all of the loops. And I'm just gonna take my scissors and just cut through those loops. Make sure you catch them all. And go on the other side and do that there. And then you can kind of just comb through with your fingers a little bit. See if you missed any. I think I missed a few here. Just gonna comb through a little bit. And then we're gonna place that down and then take our longer thread and then kind of go like a ½ inch down from the top. And then we're just gonna tie a really tight knot like that. And that's gonna give us that little tassel shape. I'm gonna do a double knot there. And then with this extra thread, I'm just going to kind of twist it around to give it a little more shape. And then I'm just gonna tie those ends off in a double knot as well. just like that. And you have your really cute little, easy little tassel. So you can just kind of brush out the ends there. And this next part is where the jade colored beads come in. So this is optional, but I think it, adds something really cute. So I'm just gonna go ahead and snip and just take 2 of them. And then I'm just going to thread them through. Let's see if I can do that. There's one. Okay, let's try to get this up in here. See. Okay, this one's giving me a little bit of trouble, but I have a ready-made tassel here. Because I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to thread those beads on camera. So yeah, here is our completed little tassel here with the little beads at the top. So what we're going to do next is we are just going to tape this to the top or to the bottom of our fan. So I'm just going to go ahead with a little bit of tape and secure that at the top. And then we are going to go in with our die cuts and just add a little bit of detail right here. So I think for this one, I'm going to go ahead and use the fan just because it's the same similar shape and it fits good right there. And I'm also going to be using these mandarins. So mandarins are the lucky fruit of the new year. So New Year's, you always want to make sure that you eat some fresh mandarins. So these are really nice because they have adhesive on the back. So you can kind of just pull it off like that. Today I'm going to be using these double-sided foam squares though, just so I can save these die cuts for later. And also the foam kind of gives it a little bit of dimension. So it'll be a little bit 3D there, which would give it a nice little touch. So I'm just going to pop that on the back. And place that on there, and then do another little half for my mandarins. And then we're all set. So that was a really easy project. Took 10 minutes. You have your really cute little tassel there. And these envelopes, they come in a ton of different patterns and colors. So you could do different sizes, different shapes. I do recommend using at least 6 envelopes though, because if you use any less, you won't really get that semicircle fan shape. Yeah, just a really cute project that you can do during the new year. Okay, so let's set that aside and then we can just jump into our second project, which is the paper lanterns. So the first thing we're gonna do for the lanterns, we are going to take our red colored cardstock and our paper cutter. So we're gonna need to cut this down to an 8x6. So I'm just gonna mark 8 inches there and 6 inches there. Trim that off. That's my 8. There's my 6. And then you can see how you get 2 kind of the same size sheets. So you can use, say, 1 and make another lantern later. So with this 8x6 rectangle, we're going to take our ruler and we are going to measure 0.75 inches from the top. Let's do a little mark there. And then on the other side. And then we're going to measure a 1/2 inch from the bottom. We have a 1/2 inch there. And a 1/2 inch there. And then we're going to take our folder and we're just going to make a line there that we can crease. The next one there, and then one at the bottom. So these are going to be like the tops, the top and the bottom of our lantern. And the next part is we are going to take our ruler and we're going to measure about 3/4 of an inch all the way across. And this is going to give us the lines here that we're going to cut. So you could do, I think this one I did a 1/2 inch across. So I did a cut every 1/2 inch. I'm doing 3/4 of an inch just because it's a little less cuts, but you can kind of just do whatever size you'd like. So I'm going to go ahead and just measure that. Just making sure I'm doing 3/4 inch marks all the way across. And then for this part, this is a little tricky part. We are going to cut in the middle here. So you're not going to want to cut all the way across because that's just obviously going to cut your rectangle. We're just going to want to cut from the top fold line to the bottom fold line. I'm just going to use my paper cutter for this, but you could really use like an X-acto knife and a ruler would be really easy. You just want to make sure, see how I cut just in the middle there from this bottom fold line to our top fold line. So you're just going to want to make sure you're pretty careful and pretty even. I'm just going to go very slowly and go all the way across my paper. And again, if it's not perfect, it's totally fine. Your lantern will still come out really cute. You just want to make sure that, for the most part, it's pretty even all the way across. All right, my last 2 cuts here. Okay, so then that's going to give us the little base for our lantern. The next step we're going to do is we're going to make this little gold piece that goes in the middle. So for that, you're going to need a gold piece of cardstock. And I'm going to cut this down to a 9x6. So I'm just going to measure out 9 inches there, and 6 inches there. I'm just going to go ahead and cut that off. All right. So we have our little gold piece, and luckily for this one, we're not going to do any more cutting with our little paper cutter. So you're going to go back to your red cardstock. This one I have all my tick marks on here, so I'm going to just flip it over and use the other side. So I'm just going to overlap those 2 little pieces at the end, Just making sure I have enough of a gap to staple. Oh, actually first, sorry, I missed a step. We're gonna need to kind of where our fold mark was, we're going to need to bend that a little bit. So bend that inwards a little bit, just so when we fold it around, we have a little definition there. Yeah, what I'm gonna do there is I'm gonna overlap those two pieces and then go in with my stapler and just staple those two pieces together right there. I'm gonna go in the same. Now you can see where we have our little bouncing lantern. So I'm gonna take my gold cardstock next and kind of, as carefully as I can, just kind of wrap that into a little tube like that. And then you just kind of shove it in the red lantern. And then you're gonna wanna make sure that it kind of is the same width as your red lantern. So just let that gold piece kind of unfurl inside of it. So then once you're happy with that, you can see how it's kind of flush. I'm gonna go ahead and reinforce that gold part inside there, just with another staple at the top. And don't staple the bottom yet. So this is what's gonna give us that little lantern kind of shape. So if you take the red part, you can kind of scooch it up or scooch it down, and that will give you a different kind of shape of lantern. So if you did it really high up, you get like a really cute little, you know, kind of oval lantern, or you get more of a circle shape if you leave it down. I'm gonna leave mine kind of like right there. And then once you're happy with the placement, go ahead and just add in another staple. And that'll just reinforce the gold so that the gold doesn't move. And then the next thing is to make this really cute little fringe at the bottom. I'm gonna go ahead and just grab my scissors and then just snip off the gold piece. And then I'm cutting about every 1/4 of an inch. You can really do whatever you want here. It's really simple, but it adds just a nice little touch at the end. So I'm just going all the way around, making sure not to cut too high so that I hit the red part. I just want to make sure the gold. And I like to kind of just flare it out a little so you can really see the fringe. And then one last thing for the lantern base is we're going to add the little handle at the top. So I'm just grabbing some of that leftover cardstock. You can use the red or the gold, whatever you like. Actually, use this piece. And I'm just cutting like a 1/2 inch off. It's like a little strip like that. And then I'm going to give it just a little bend. And then I'm going to just adhere it in there. So I'm just going to take a little bit of skin. And you could use your stapler here too, because we are going to be covering up this top part. So if you wanted to use more staples, you're more than welcome. One second. Yeah, there's our little handle at the top. Then I'm gonna go in with our gold washi. And then here's the part that's gonna hide all the staples at the top. I'm just going to place that right at the edge. And then just go really slowly around. And this part is totally optional too, but I think it just gives it a nice little finishing touch. Nice little washi border at the top. And then we're gonna make another tassel for this one. I have one here that I've already made. I used a red one for this one, just to give it a little bit of contrast. So for this one, I'm just going to tape it to the inside of my lantern. Here. Right, like that, just so it kind of hangs nicely there. And then for our little finishing touch here, I'm going to go back into our die cuts. And I'm going to use, let's see here. I'm going to use this one. And this character here means good fortune. I'm going to go in with the little 3D stickers that also come with it. And I'm just going to add these cherry blossoms to the bottom. Just to give it a nice little, and these are 3D, so they're really fun, so they kind of stick out a little. So yeah, and then I'm just going to place that right in the middle there. So for these ones, I'm going to go back in with those adhesive squares. Again, the die cuts have adhesive back, so you can just really just take off the backing of the die cut and stick it right on there. So give it a nice little kind of 3D effect on the lantern. So I'm just going to stick there. And put my die cut right on top. And we're all set with our lantern. So yeah, just a really cute, fun, simple project that you can do. Again, these are really customizable. You can do like a darker red. You could do gold on the outside and then red on the inside. You can make them different sizes. I think it'd be really cute if you had like some large ones and some small ones hanging by each other. And you can also, you know, hang them together. So for the lantern, or sorry, for the fan, if you wanted to hang these, you could really easily just tape some of that embroidery thread in the back and then just make a little hanger for it. But yeah, those are our two little projects. I'll go ahead and switch back to the front facing camera. Yeah, like I said, you know, really easy projects that you can do for the Lunar New Year. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to ask us in the chat or in social media. And if you make any of these projects, we'd love to see them. You can tag us at Craftsman Co. and tag Michael's as well. We really love to see it. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us. Happy Lunar New Year and happy crafting, and I'll see you in the next class.